So, we had something interesting happen recently. Jan LeCun, the person who is one of the biggest AI doubters, says that we'll probably have AGI within the next 5 years, or possibly the next 10 years. This was the guy that was saying that AGI won't be here for over 10 years or 20 years, somewhere in that ballpark. He said it's just so far off, and we have so much work to do to actually get there, and it's just not feasible. And consistently, his time frames and his predictions have been cutting in half literally every single year. Like last year, it was like 20 years or 10 years. Now it's 5 to 10 years. And by next year, it'll probably be like 2 years or maybe even 1 year. But if you look at the consensus, Elon Musk says for sure no later than 2026. He's a little bit optimistic with some of his predictions, though. So we also have people like Sam Altman that says for sure 2025 is when they're releasing it, but maybe they're just calling something AGI that's not actually AGI, right? So then we also have Dario Amodei, who says by 2026 or 2027. So between Sam Altman being the most bullish and Jan LeCun historically being the ultimate bear, besides like Gary Marcus, who's just a dweeb, the consensus is coming around to the next like few years. If you go look at Sam Altman being the ultimate bull, having a prediction for next year being AGI, or if you look at people like David Shapiro, who says AGI is already here, the O1 model is AGI, just lobotomized. All it needs is to not be constrained and just let it go, and that's AGI, which I tend to agree with in some cases. It's kind of like a baby form of AGI. And then on the ultimate bear side, you have Jan LeCun, who says it's going to be here probably within 5 years. So it's looking like it's going to be here very soon, to say the least. And even if it takes way longer than all of these estimates, let's say it takes a decade, even that, like that's basically happening yesterday for how profound AGI is. Like the time to start preparing is now, to say the least. All of that being said, I want to talk about what I'm building in hopes that it gives you some insights as to what types of business models are good to commit to now and will continue to be relevant in the future. And there's many people who will say, oh, you're trying to predict what's going to happen after AGI. No, not necessarily. I mean, I guess you can kind of say that, but there are certain things that just will not change about human nature, for example. As long as me and you continue to be humans, we continue to have cognitive biases. We continue to have the genetic programming that has been programmed into us over 4 billion years. There's certain things about being a human that just will not change, right? So like, one of the examples I like to use is a community business model, which is the exact business model that I'm personally going all in on. The reason a community business model is one of the only businesses you can start today and it'll continue to be viable for the foreseeable future is because we have these evolved psychological biases, these evolved psychological mechanisms as human beings due to 4 billion years of evolution. And the most profound thing that we have is the bias of congregation. Right? Whenever humans are looking for answers, whenever we're looking for meaning, whenever anything happens, we're looking for other groups of people that are searching for the same thing we're searching for so that we have a greater chance of finding it. Because the hive mind effect, whenever you have a lot of communication happening between a bunch of humans, that intelligence is much greater than a single human trying to find the answer on their own. So what happens is biologically, psychologically, every single time a human is looking for meaning, they join a community. They join a group, they join religions, they join cults, every single time. This is just something that happens. So something is happening called the meaning economy relatively soon, where AGI becomes far better than all of the humans at providing economically valuable work. Therefore, the majority of jobs, let's say 70, 80% of jobs, no longer exist. All of those people are uprooted from the economy, and now they have to search for meaning again, because all of their meaning was probably found in their job once, and even a lot of people currently have jobs, and they don't even have meaning, but they're just doing their job because they think that's supposed to be meaningful to them, and so they kind of derive meaning from that, even though they don't really have any meaning there. It's just taking up enough of their time so they don't have to focus on what is actually meaningful to them. So what is going to happen when 70% or a billion or billions of people are uprooted from the labor market? Well, they're going to join communities, and if you have a community that is valuable to them, they will join it to help them find meaning in the meeting economy. It's a very simple business model. It's not as simple as, although it can be, it's not, for me, my business model, that one that I'm building, isn't going to be as simple as just posting YouTube videos like I am right now, and then having a community where people pay $10 a month, $20 a month, or however much money to join the community and help them navigate the changes, help them learn how to use AI, become an entrepreneur for themselves. That will be something that we do. That'll be part of what we offer within the community. But you can also build a community that is much, much, much more than that by being creative. So what I want to do is break this down to the very first principles. At the very bottom of the community, the foundation is simply psychology, right? Like any big brand, Apple, for example, the foundation, the reason the moats in Apple are so deep is one, I mean, they do have a good product, but mainly it's because the narrative around the product is so damn good. Like, Android's product actually isn't that bad, and in some ways it could be better. Apple's product is also really good, but what Apple really has is a very deep moat. Like, whenever you're texting somebody, for example, if you get a blue text bar instead of a green text bar, you're going to be happy. But if you get that green text bar, a lot of people make fun of those people because they have an Android, right? So the narratives that are pushed there, the psychology that they have around their business, like, their business is a cult. Everybody who is a big Apple fan is indoctrinated into the belief system that Apple wants them to be indoctrinated into. They have this whoever doesn't have an iPhone is almost outcasted compared to the people who have really good iPhones, right? They're not actually outcasted, but in like a playful sense, they're outcasted. They make fun of the people with Androids, and due to the nature of humans wanting to be accepted into the group, they also get an iPhone. Those people who are made fun of for having Androids over a long enough time, they also get indoctrinated and also have the iPhone due to the psychological programming of the people who have the iPhones. So the biggest moat for Apple is psychology, right? Which is why Warren Buffett's portfolio is majority Apple. Whenever you invest in Berkshire Hathaway, you're investing in Apple. So whenever you're building a community business, you're setting up a foundation. That doesn't have to be the top of your community business. You're not limited by the community itself. That is just a foundation. Now you can build it to be as abstract and complex and as future forward facing, technology facing, whatever facing as you want to. You can make it face towards simple things if you choose to. You're more than welcome to do that. I think that'll still be a fantastic business. Let's say you want to have like a cooking community. That's a fantastic business model, and it'll continue to be fantastic for the foreseeable future. But if you want to have a business model that is massive and make hundreds of billions of dollars potentially one day, you can be extremely creative and form products around that community and have much, much, much more leverage in the future. A good way to think about the community is why Elon Musk bought X, the platform X. The reason he bought that is because he knows that's a good long-term investment. Sure, short-term he lost money. He doesn't give a shit. He just won an election because he has the most powerful community on planet Earth right now. The X platform is probably the most powerful community platform in the world right now. And Elon Musk owns it. He has a lot of freaking power that makes all of his stocks go up. That makes all of his products better. That makes everything that Elon does have more power. So all a community is a solid foundation. That's the way you should be thinking about this. As long as we stay humans, that foundation will not be eroded. So that is the resource. Out of any resource, that is the only resource you should be building today, because you don't know what's going to happen to the other resources. Like, the entire US dollar could collapse. That's something that's reasonably going to happen. But humans, as long as we're here, a community will always serve you well. But now to dive in a bit further as to what specific things do I want to do with my community. And to do that, I'm going to actually share my screen with you. Okay, so this is just a little simplified outline of what you can do with a community, and this is a directionally correct idea that I have for my community. Okay, so here's my community. It's a network state. That's a better way of saying what this actually is. It's more than just a community. It's actually a collection of individuals where you can form your own economy. That's essentially what I'm talking about here. Yes, it's a community. It's also an economy. It's also a decentralized autonomous organization. It's also decentralized computing nodes distributed between all of the members. It's also distributed energy technology distributed between all the members. It's also distributed AI between all of the members. It's a bunch of different things in one. And the reason why I'm building it like this is because I see something happening, which is things in the universe always fall into hierarchical structures. So the example that I am looking at, which has given me this idea for this specific community model, is I'm looking at OpenAI. OpenAI has a powerful model behind closed doors that only a few people know about. That only a few people have access to it, only a few people know about it, and the rest of humanity has O1 preview, right? Like literally I have sources that tells me the O13, or not O13, O3, the O3 model already exists. It's already there. They're already working on it. They pretty much have AGI internally, but everybody else doesn't have access to that, right? So what I'm building here is a counterbalancing force. And the main thing that I am seeing is that pattern that OpenAI currently has, also Anthropic, pretty much every big AI company, that pattern is going to not only continue, but exacerbate drastically as we develop superintelligence, right? So what I see most likely happening due to limitations in energy that we can capture and deploy, and due to limitations in materials that we can utilize to build AI, which not we, but OpenAI can use, due to limitations in the universe, things organize into hierarchical structures, which means as the AI improves, the amount of AI that you and I have access to that OpenAI is giving us compared to the AI that they have access to, that gap grows. Meaning the super intelligence behind closed doors becomes more and more and more powerful, while me and you have access to AGI, right? AGI is great. It helps us. It gives us a massive advantage compared to what we used to have. But they have super intelligence, and that gap will continue to happen just because of the lack of resources in the universe, right? We're not lack of resources in the universe, but lack of the speed at which we can capture and deploy those resources to build an ASI, right? The ASI will always be bounded to the upper bounds of energy that we have access to and materials that we have access to. Therefore, the hierarchical structure of the AI is inevitable, right? That being said, this is a counterbalancing force. The network state that I'm building, or the community that I'm building, the intention of it is to have decentralized computational power, decentralized data, decentralized energy technology, decentralized open source AI that our community can use, right? So even if there is ASI that is open sourced, it's not going to be cheap to run as much as you would like to think. Open source ASI is going to require a lot of computational power. And that is one thing that is also happening. AI compute is about to explode. Like the amount of startups that are focusing specifically on hardware for AI specifically is a lot. And that entire industry is about to explode. So what does that mean? Well, for one, the cost of GPUs is going to tank. Like everybody's going to be able to have access to very powerful computation, and only if we use a bunch of computation can we build a super powerful model or have access to using an open sourced super powerful model. So again, only with enough computation can we do that. So even though the cost of GPUs will drop and the amount of AI hardware is going to explode on the market, there's still going to be limitations. Again, this is where my community comes in, where I am building infrastructure so that any individual who has AI hardware can connect to my infrastructure, rent out their GPUs, get paid passive income for renting out their GPUs on my decentralized infrastructure, and everybody can use that to train AGI or any type of AI, right? So just to look at the screen here is actually what the structure will likely look like. So the foundation is, again, narratives. The entire foundation of the community is narratives. The network is the people and the actual infrastructure, capital, resources, energy technology, all of these different things. And the decentralized economy of the community is led by the infrastructure. We have decentralized intelligence, we have decentralized finance, we have decentralized compute, we have decentralized energy technology, all bundled into one network state, right? All bundled into one community. And whoever joins has access to this economy, and they can make money in this economy. They can be prosperous in this economy. They are now part of the economy, and they can become extremely wealthy. They can build super powerful AI. They can train their own models on our decentralized computing nodes. They can use our decentralized currency. They can use our decentralized energy tech. They can create their own decentralized intelligence. They can do whatever they want to. They can network with the people in here. This is a hub of value that we can build with a community, right? So a community is nothing but a foundation. That's what a lot of people, like whenever somebody hears the word community business, their brain stops there and they don't see the big picture beyond that, which I totally get. I should have explained myself further in previous videos as to what I meant by a community business, and this is it. So if none of you have heard of Balaji, he actually has created the idea of the network state. This is something that I also saw coming about a year ago, which is why I started to build my community. And then recently I actually heard about Balaji, and I actually recommend reading this book. It's very good. But if this is something you're actually interested in joining, if you would like to join my community, or you just like the idea and you'd like to talk with me a bit more about it, you can feel free to join my community linked in the description below. It's only $7 per month. This is the cheapest it will ever be. We don't have the infrastructure built out yet. So the decentralized currency, the decentralized energy tech, the decentralized computing nodes, and having data processing and stuff like that, that stuff isn't there quite yet. But that is infrastructure that I'm currently building, and over not too distant future, it should be in there. And the people who join today will have the very cheapest price due to us not having those things in there yet, which is why it's only $7 per month right now. But in the future, price will go up a little bit, and we'll also have the community being a lot more valuable. So if it is something you would like to commit to now, and buy the dip, basically buy it while it's cheap, and then have access to the very powerful thing in the future, you will get locked in at just $7 per month, and you'll never have to pay more than that unless you will like purchase some other future product. But that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Again, you don't have to join. I'm going to keep posting these YouTube videos, keep sharing a lot of value for free. But if you do want to join, that is where you can do it, linked in the description below. I will see you in the next video.